Henry Thoreau said that a lot of our life is wasted away with details. Instead, we should simplify, simplify, simplify. And if Thoreau was a painter, he would be certainly right about that as well. Because simplicity is what makes a painting strong and attractive. Simplicity of shape, design, and composition of light and dark shapes, warm and cool color. In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to take a relatively simple landscape scene, transform it into simple shapes of light and dark and warm and cool color. Following a path of simplicity in your painting doesn't make a painting look simple. It makes it open to you to express yourself through the colors you choose and the arrangement of the shapes. But come down to it, it has been simplified into shapes of light and dark, warm and cool color. So come along with me as I lead you through this quick painting to reinforce that idea. So let's dive in. Here's the basic reference, and I'm going to be focusing on the dark bushes and then the planes of light in the foreground and behind them to give the painting some strong light-dark contrast. So starting in with the dark mass shapes, just get that composition in, the horizon line in, and now block them in with some dark color. Use ultramarine, maybe a bit of burnt sienna mixed into it to get your dark block-in shape. Then the shadow pattern, also very important. Just got a bit of alizarin crimson into that ultramarine blue. Scrubbing it all in with a bristle brush, nothing fancy, very basic palette of colors. The distant hill has got to be pushed back with some cooler desaturated color. And now just blocking in the distant field, getting in the paths of light between the dark, getting in that second layer of dark there with some ultramarine and a little bit of orange. Makes a lovely dark, not bringing any white paint into the shadows and darks. Keep that in mind. Simplifying the hill in the background with light and dark. You can see a pattern developing as I put down these shapes, and very descriptive already of the scene. Carrying on with the second layer, these bushes are going to be sort of the focal area, but also creating a nice counterpoint for the light around them. Using a big brush here, number 8 bristle brush on a small 10 by 12 panel. So you can see how the big brush helps to simplify shapes once again. No fiddly little brush marks, just big shapes, putting them down here with some really thick paint, just basically lemon yellow, a bit of white. Now a bit of orange and yellow to highlight the side of the bushes where the light is hitting them. So some form of side light is always very handy to help define shapes, and also throw really nice dark shadows. So shadow pattern in the foreground, light in between that and the bushes, and then light behind the bushes again, leading into the distant hill. Now you'll notice I'm using thick paint in the foreground, and that is intentional. I want thick, juicy paint, good saturated color in the foreground to come forward, and in the distant areas the paint will be thinner and not as saturated. At this stage I'm experimenting with shapes and color, just getting it down nice and thick, laying it over existing layers, so working wet into wet. And provided you are careful with laying down paint and then lifting your brush off, wipe your brush clean again, get some more paint on, then layer it on again. You're not going to be mixing in to layers underneath and creating mud. So you can see how the white strip in the distance does go into the distance, because white cools down a color, and of course aerial perspective makes colors appear cooler. So all I'm doing is working into the shadows there with some blues. Shadow is naturally going to have some blue color into it, and I'm just accentuating that a bit more. Just for softening up and cooling down the edges. These foreground shapes I'm being, I suppose you could say, inspired by the reference and looking for expressive color, good thick distinct shapes. So I'm noticing some warm sort of pinkish earth tones in Distant Hill. Put those in quickly, working all areas of the painting. If I work in the background, then I will take a break, develop the foreground, then the focal area, and so on. I don't try and complete one area at a time. So pretty much getting a good development of this painting, and I'm not trying to get into real details. I'm really looking at where I can get a light-dark contrast doing all the work for me. Notice the strong diagonal in the hill in the background, and that helps to add a bit of energy to what would otherwise be a very horizontal looking painting. Suggestion of foliage and bushes in the background, but I've got to break them down again, otherwise they come forward too much. Now getting the little brush in just for a few suggestions of grass, etc., but a few too many, so go over them with some dark color. Make sure my shadow pattern and darks are still in place. Always look out for that. Just refining a few of these foreground shapes so it's not too I would say hard-edged. A couple of dark accents make a difference as well. It's not always just about adding highlights. Dark accents are very effective too. I just need to get those darks in a little stronger here and there. So you can see, pretty simple scene, but giving me a lot of leeway for expressive color and a lot of simple shapes. Here, a few final touches of real thick, juicy paint just to consolidate this foreground a little more. And there we have it. Quite a fun little painting to do, using a simplicity of shape, light and dark, and warm and cool color. Just sign this off and we'll have a look at the completed painting. Well, I hope you enjoyed that demonstration, and if you found it useful or found anything interesting with it and want to take that further, go along to my website and look at the painting courses, and you'll find something that is going to help you. Maybe learn to paint with impact, or how to loosen up your painting, or even an art coaching course with me. I will teach these concepts in those as well. As always, if you could like and subscribe to this channel, I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you soon in the next video.